Darius Slay has no hard feelings about Eagles' release, still open to a return to Philadelphia. Darius Slay knew his release from the Philadelphia Eagles could happen in the days after the cornerback helped the club win a Super Bowl. After Philly did indeed decide to cut him, the 34-year-old said on his Big Play Slay podcast that he understands it was just business. Slay also didn't discount the possibility of a return to the Eagles. "It is part of the business, and I'm not hurt about it," he said. "I'm not sad about it because this is what I signed up for. I knew I gave that team everything I had, the organization everything I had. So it's always a possibility, though, of your boy coming back. It's not always throw it in the back, but this time, I'm just thankful enough that I could get ahead of free agency if I find me a good destination for myself. But hopefully, see how the Eagles do. If the Eagles do something nice, they know I'd love to be back. They know that, and I understand how this game is. Teams get younger. Teams want to save cap space because they pay younger guys for their future. And that's why I said there are no hard feelings." Slay noted that at his age, after 12 years, 5 in Philly, 7 in Detroit, he knows that Eagles general manager Howie Roseman wanted to skew younger in the defensive backfield with rookies, Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean taking the reins. The corner noted that the last time the Eagles made a Super Bowl run in 2022, the club discussed potentially moving on but ultimately agreed to a reworked deal that kept Slay in Philly. "I know him, 34. I know him way out of my prime, but still playing at an elite level," he said. "I know me and Howie had a great talk and he said the same. It's not that I can't play, that's just part of the business. He just said, well, see how things shake out and we will. So possibly he might spin the block back just like he did last time." And look, he spun the block back and 2 years later, Super Bowl champs. So you know what I'm saying? We'll see. If Roseman decides not to spin the block back this offseason, Slay would prefer a reunion in Detroit. The former second round pick spent 7 seasons with the Lions before famously butting heads with then-coach Matt Patricia, which led to a trade to Philadelphia. The Lions do need a veteran corner to bolster a young crew, and even at 34, Slay proved he can still play at an NFL level. Slay won't put all his eggs in the Detroit basket, however. "If there's any teams I'd love to play for, you already know it's Philly or the Detroit Lions," Slay said. However, that's how that shakeout, man, that would be a blessing. That'd be like Malcolm Jenkins. He started off with the Saints, then came over to Philly, then he ended his career back over there with the Saints. I would love that. In a way of just saying those are the 2 teams I'd be wanting to play for, the Philadelphia Eagles or the Detroit Lions. So, we'll see. But now that I'm a free agent, I've got a good chance to just see what other teams are looking to offer your boy. There's a lot of great coaches I would love to play for. Y'all know I got big hype with Big Mike Tomlin over there in Pittsburgh. Man, there's a lot of great coaches I would love to learn from and just grow me as a character, as a player. We will see. We're looking forward to it. Given his age, Slay is more likely to sign a deal in the second or third waves of free agency rather than lock in when the market opens next week. However, every single NFL team can use reliable corners. The Super Bowl champ will find a job at some point this offseason. Eagles resign key free agent in wake of Saquon Barkley. Extension with NFL free agency only a week away, the Philadelphia Eagles have begun their aggressive dealings to set themselves up for the offseason and beyond. First, Howie Roseman signed Saquon Barkley to a 2-year, $41.2 million extension on Tuesday. This cut Barkley's 2025 cap hit in half. Roseman followed this up with another splashy move on Wednesday. Per ESPN's Adam Schefter, the Eagles resigned linebacker Zach Bond to a 3-year, $51 million deal. This includes $34 million guaranteed at signing, making him one of the highest-paid LBs in the league. Eagles News Philadelphia re-signs LB Zach Bond. This is a massive payday for Bond, who was one of the most fascinating stories in the league last year. After 4 seasons as a rotation defender in New Orleans, Bond signed a 1-year deal with the Eagles in the 2025 offseason. Transitioning to inside linebacker, Bond had a breakout season in Philadelphia, playing like one of the best defenders in the NFL. As a result, Bond earned Pro Bowl and All-Pro honors while finishing 5th in the Defensive Player of the Year voting. He received an impressive 90, one grade on Pro Football Focus. He had 93 solo tackles, 73 more than his previous career high, while adding 5 sacks, 5 forced fumbles, and 11 tackles for loss. He continued his dominance in the postseason, registering 2 interceptions, 2 fumble recoveries, and a forced fumble in 4 games. By not letting Bond hit the market, the Eagles locked down one of their best players for at least 2 more seasons. In return, the 28-year-old becomes the 4th highest-paid linebacker in the league after Fred Warner, Roquan Smith, and Tremaine Edmonds. The Eagles are off to a great start to off-season. Now, their next big decision will be regarding Makey Becton. Whether Roseman will be willing to break the bank for another unexpected breakout player remains to be seen. Eagles insiders believe Dallas Goedert's time in Philly may end sooner than expected. Keep an eye on Dallas Goedert this offseason. Eagles insiders believe he may have played his final Eagles game. There are few NFL tight ends who are elite blockers and catch the ball.
Will equal proficiency.
Zach Ertz is one of our all-time favorite Philadelphia Eagles of recent memory, and respectfully, he isn't even that dude. But Dallas Goedert qualifies. Durability is the only concern about the latter. He's missed 17 games over the past 4 seasons. Because of injury, but when he's on the field, you'd be hard-pressed to find someone who is his equal. Did you see that double stiff arm during the wild card round of the playoffs? Now, he's a 2-time Angry Run Scepter winner. On many other rosters, he'd be one of the top 1 or 2 options, but playing on an offense featuring A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, and Saquon Barkley. Yeah, that isn't happening. Still, he's a nice feather to have in the cap. He still has one. Year remaining on his current deal, so why are we discussing the possibility of the Birds moving on? Eagles Insider believes Philly could move on from Dallas Goedert during the offseason. Jeff McClain's most recent Uncovering the Birds podcast is certainly worth your attention. He believes Philly could move off of Dallas Goedert during the offseason. Goedert has been one of the best at his position for the last several years, but staying healthy has been an issue. He's under contract for the 2025 season, but he doesn't have any remaining guaranteed money remaining on his contract. And he just turned 30. There's more. I could see things coming to a head because Goedert could have more value on the open market than the Eagles might be willing to pay considering their cap situation. So I sent a few messages to sources. One who verified Goedert by no means is a slam dunk to return to Philly for an 8th season. That wouldn't come as a surprise, but the Eagles don't exactly have an obvious starting tight end if they want to replace him as they did 3 years ago when they traded Zach Ertz with Goedert. Entering his prime. Zach Berman seemingly agrees, sort of. During a recent episode of PHLY Philadelphia Eagles podcast, he stated Goedert and Philly might be able to alter his contract. Then, almost in the same breath, he also stated he leans towards believing and exit can happen. Frankly, neither outcome would be shocking. Philly plans to move on from Darius Slay. One day after hearing that, we learned James Bradberry will leave. News then came about Saquon Barkley's extension and eventually a new deal. For first-team All-Pro Zach Bond, roster turnover is underway. Might Goedert be one of the surprise exits? He represents a cap hit of over $12 million next season and more than $11 million in dead cap space. Stay tuned. He's under contract, but he has no guaranteed money on his deal. Philly could look to rework something and look to rework it. Guaranteeing this year's salary could perhaps reduce his cap number. The new league year begins on March 12th at 4 p.m. EST.